Welcome to Cardinals Cover 2 with Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki. Cardinals Cover 2 is brought to you by Arizona Cardinals Podcasts. Visit azcardinals.com/podcasts. From the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, here's Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki.
Crystal clear, to use GM Steve Keim's phrase, that Kyler Murray was the pick. And the day after, Murray to be introduced here in a matter of moments. He has touched down from Nashville. Murray, his family, his agents, and Murray to be introduced officially to the Arizona local media coming up in about 15 minutes or so, and we'll carry it for you here on this special edition of Cards Cover 2. Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki. Yes, day one of the 2019 NFL Draft in the books. Getting ready for rounds 2 and 3 a little bit later on this afternoon. But first things first, this right now is all about Murray, the brand new Cardinals quarterback, and dare I say, face of the franchise, with all apologies to Larry Fitzgerald, who is getting up there in age. Don't tell him that. But of course, whenever you draft a quarterback, and a quarterback like this, there is going to be a lot of eyeballs on this decision, and then of course how it translates out on the field.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they were able to keep this under the vest and you know, obviously close to the vest, I should say, from a standpoint of, yeah, there was a lot of speculation, a lot of misreporting or misinformation, so they were able to keep it. There weren't no leaks coming out of this building, and they made the right decision. Moving forward, now we're going to need to let it play out. But this is a guy they've targeted, and obviously with the hire of Cliff Kingsbury, it made sense. He's familiar with the offense. There's going to be a learning curve, and we're going to get a chance to talk to Kyler Murray after the press conference at some point. So, you know, we'll get into the latter rounds coming up this afternoon. But for the most part, I mean, the fact that, you know, they ID'd him. They were able to watch film. Even Steve admitted that he didn't want to watch film because you don't want to fall in love with a player, but I think it was just natural. It was organic in what he can do. And this is the new trend in the NFL. You know, Jared Goff, he gets rid of the ball quick. He runs a lot of RPOs. You look at Mitch Trubisky. Maybe they rely on their defense, and hopefully the Cardinals can get that defense back up to par. You look at Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, and you even look at a guy like Kyler Murray. You know, I don't think he's going to take off and run if he feels like I can make a play. The best thing is to get rid of the ball quick and let your playmakers in space decide how many yards are going to get yards after catch. So I know the organization is excited. I know some people thought they maybe should have gone defense. You can build a case for that. I think that's very fair, and that means you keep Josh Rosen. But bringing in Cliff Kingsbury and the fact that he's played in the air raid and RPOs, it makes total sense for the franchise.
To your point about his threat to run the football, he did have over 1,000 yards last season on his way to becoming the Heisman Trophy winner, but he is not a runner first. He only runs when needs to run, and sometimes there are designed runs, and that's going to be something that's a different wrinkle, because how many quarterbacks at the NFL level have designed runs? We saw initially a lot of it with Russell Wilson, and then they kind of backed off because you can't do it all the time because you're going to get your quarterback hit and then ultimately hurt. But that is the different wrinkle here that the Cardinals have never had. You know, at least in my recent memory.
I would say Jake Plummer, but it was a little bit different.
Okay, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah,
I mean, you know, Jake the Snake.
It's right. Yeah, exactly. The nickname fit. But to go in the huddle, or in this case, or if they don't huddle, but you get to the line of scrimmage and out of the shotgun formation, because that's what we've heard Kingsbury say predominantly, they're going to be out of the shotgun. But you look at what the defense is in front of you and what might be called. There might be 2 or 3 different options for him.
Yep.
I'm going to throw left. I'm going to hand the ball off, or I'm going to tuck it and run because I see the defense loaded to the left side.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some opportunities where, you know, besides him getting rid of the ball, but, you know, there's going to be some plays where I'm not saying they're going to run the option, but he's going to get to the edge, and usually a right-handed quarterback's more comfortable. Not saying he can't go to the left side, throw across his body, but you're going to see him, you know, involved in, you know, I always think jet sweeps and bubble screens, those are more extended run plays. They're high percentage. You can't turn the ball over. You know, J.J. Nelson was always concerning because he didn't have the strength in the upper body. But I think Murray's a guy he's going to have his eyes down the field. He played with 6'4" and 6'5" linemen that are going to, you know, be drafted this year. So I don't think that's an issue, and he finds windows. He finds little windows to throw through, and he's kind of like Drew Brees a little bit. He does lift his head up a little bit when he throws the ball. You'll start to see that if you watch highlights. I don't think they're going to try to change his mechanics. I don't think, footwork you can always work on. But one thing he does a really good job is driving the ball down the field. And he's got a little bit of arc on it. And I think that's from the baseball background. Cliff said it really comes from his father. We had a chance to talk to a head coach last night. He said it's really about his father. His father, at 6 or 7 years old, taught him how to throw a baseball and a football. And he's supposedly in that community, in that area. His father, Kevin, is known as a guru when it comes to the quarterback position. We used to know a guy named George Whitfield. He was with Johnny Manziel, and we've talked to Greg Cosell. He's not a coach, but he's an analyst when it comes to evaluating the quarterback position.
Well, whatever he taught his son, specifically at the high school level, worked, because Murray went 43-0 at Allen High School in Texas, won 3 consecutive state titles, and then, of course, went on to help lead Oklahoma to the college football playoff, and then ultimately win the Heisman Trophy last season. To your point about Keim and what he was able to watch in that, quote, reluctant to watch the film, here is Keim on how he believes Murray fits with what Kingsbury wants to do.
I mean, I think this. I mean, to me, in today's day and age, you adapt to a player's skills, and it's pretty easy to see that Cliff's offense is a great fit schematically, and all that makes sense. But I mean, he was the funnest guy I watched on tape, and I'm talking about if I wrote "wow" 100 times, that probably wasn't enough. It was amazing the things that he did on tape, again, that I haven't seen before. And in today's day and age, you have to be able to extend with your feet and make plays out of the pocket, and certainly have gotten tired of facing a guy that has similar skills over and over. And unfortunately, usually on the losing end of it. Now we have a guy that can be a weapon with his feet, his arm, and he isn't just a runner. I mean, the guy is a player that looks to throw first. He's got tremendous accuracy. You talk about the height being a detriment, and it really isn't when you watch the tape. Because if you do your homework, there are 6'5" quarterbacks in this draft that have had 12 balls batted down. This guy had 5 balls batted down. So he has a great feel for pocket presence, sliding and finding windows, and certainly, very good with his eyes, not only looking off and just reading with progressions. I mean,
well,
I think
if you couldn't figure out who he was talking about as far as a player that he faces twice a year that does exactly what Murray does, he's referring to Russell Wilson with the Seattle Seahawks, and how many times each week leading into that game you're talking to the defensive player. All right, are you spying on Wilson? How do you make sure that you do your job? Plus, if the pocket collapses or you get to Wilson, it's sometimes hard to drag him down. To the Cardinals' credit, they've had very good success at sacking him, yet he is very elusive to buy time, swing it out left or right, and then throw downfield. And now, to Keim's point, the Cardinals have that option. We'll have to see how quickly Murray is able to pick that up. But now you've got opposing defenses looking at the Cardinals' offense going, okay, you got Murray, you got to account for him. Got to account for David Johnson. All right, where's Larry Fitzgerald and where's Christian Kirk? There are 4 weapons right now, and more need to be added to this offense. But now Murray becomes a weapon, if you will, unto his own.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at this situation, I mean, Murray, I look at young quarterbacks. I think when we started facing Russell Wilson, he was looking to run too fast, okay? Because he was, trying to cover some of the blemishes on the offensive line when Tom Cable was there. They didn't have a first-round pick for a few years in a row. And then you see young quarterbacks. So here, I like to hear that he wants to throw it first, even though they want to run the football. But I think it's going to take some time. There's going to be a learning curve. But the idea is he's never spent any time in the training room, which is huge. I mean, I can't imagine how much Josh spent there last year in the cold tub or just getting massages. And that's for every quarterback, every Monday, especially when you get to November and December. But I think as a young quarterback, you're trying to do too much, and we saw that from Wilson. Mike Vick was kind of like that too. They want to take off. Now, he's a little bit different skill set, and I would think he's more like a mini Mahomes when he's in the pocket and when he can get out the pocket. To me, Maybe the only comparison or trade is the sidearm angle throws and throwing the ball down the field where you allow your receiver to go underneath and get it. It's not going to be short. It's going to be, one thing it could be is a little bit long, but that allows the receiver to get separation. We talk about separation against a defensive back.
Let's continue that topic as far as how quickly Murray gets the ball out in a conversation that we had with Kingsbury last night following the first round of the 2019 NFL Draft, and that is the number of arm angles Murray uses to get the ball out over the top, sideways, almost parallel to the ground to fit into tight windows. It was your question to Kingsbury on how that affects what Murray can do offensively.
His dad and he have worked at that for a long time. I mean, since he could walk, he's been throwing a football and has been raised to be a quarterback, and it's paid off. I mean, his mechanics, the quick release, the accuracy, the touch, the different arm angles he can throw from, he's a unique talent.
How much more does his arrival now open up what you want to do offensively here in 2019?
Yeah, I think it's always been about personnel and adapting this offense to the personnel. And obviously he brings some things in the run game and quarterback run game and holding people accountable in that. So we'll have some wrinkles.
Kingsbury still doesn't – either he doesn't know or is not willing to share his vision for this offense. And to a certain extent, he still doesn't quite know because of personnel and kind of what it looks like in the classroom and his vision with it on the field. But one, we know shotgun is going to be a large part of it. He made that pretty clear at the annual league meeting. But then that last comment will have some wrinkles and a little bit of a smile on his face, because this does open things up, I feel, so much more than if it's Josh Rosen, Carson Palmer, anyone else that is lined up under center because of that threats run. And even if it's just, a jab step, the defense has to account for that. And we know that a split second, even a quarter of a second, can mean the difference between a first down, a touchdown, or a tackle for loss.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those scenarios where, you're going to see a lot of hurry-up offense. That doesn't mean they're going to run to the ball now in 2-minute and 4-minute drill. That can change based on down and distance and score. But you're going to see them. They're going to, majority of the time, they're going to go 11 personnel. And for our listeners out there, that's 3 wide, 1 tight, 1 back. You're going to see a lot of motioning and shifting. They're going to try to create matchups. And then the quarterback, unless he's throwing the ball down the field, the intermediate routes, or he's going to throw, a 40-yard pass, you're going to see them work the chains 5 to 7 yards. Now, this could be a good thing and a bad thing. We see the Rams and the Chiefs. When this thing is working, you're clicking, you're in rhythm, you can score quickly. Now, you don't want to put your defense at a premium because, you can – I would sign up for it. 3-minute drive, you get a touchdown. The thing is, again, you're not running to the ball. You're still going to use a shot clock. I assume that Cliff will talk to Kyle in his ear until the 15-second mark. Maybe they don't look at the Mike linebacker. Maybe they look at the safety starting, next year. A little bit different perspective because he's in the gun. He could see everything from back of the huddle or in the pocket. So it's going to be interesting. But you're going to see a difference in offense. There's excitement, and they're going to try to move the ball around and get their playmakers involved as much as they can.
This is a special edition of Cards Cover 2 here from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, awaiting the introductory press conference of quarterback Kyler Murray, taken number 1 overall by the Cardinals in the 2019 NFL Draft. He said last night he hopes to be able to wear number 1. His uniform was stitched last night. The question is, will he wear number 1? It is available. Of course, he'd have to wrestle Big Red, but I'm guessing if Murray wants to wear it, Murray will get to wear it. The last Cardinal player to wear number 1 was kicker Neil Rackers, who had a great career with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, and look how detailed that is, just stitching it up right there. Oh, that's cool.
Meticulous.
Yeah, and it's done by a gal in the Valley here. The fact is that, this is how a lot of people think because every jersey, it's really that where his name is, you can just plaster it on there. You're not going to use Velcro because you don't want anybody to tear the back off. But I just like that they were able to get that video and show how they're making the jersey, because we're going to see that jersey within the next 5 minutes. And you mentioned to start the show, On the flight back was his father, his mother, and his agent, and Kyler Murray and other Cardinal personnel.
Yeah, and we expect, again, this press conference here momentarily. He landed within maybe the last hour or so, and now he is in the building here in Tempe. Remember, he did have a visit, so he is somewhat familiar. I would say very familiar, not somewhat. I mean, he spent a day and a half, maybe 2 full days here meeting with the Cardinals and, again, going through the facility to figure out if this was going to be a fit with him and the Cardinals. And, of course, as we know, it is, as General Manager Steve Keim sits there and hires Cliff Kingsbury as head coach and now drafts Murray with the first pick overall, something he did a year ago drafting Josh Rosen, but they go back-to-back years taking quarterbacks in the first round, and this was just too good of a situation to pass up for the Cardinals because that's what was the discussion. If you do this, go back-to-back years, you have to believe that when you compare side by side, Murray is so much better based off who you hired as head coach and what you want to do offensively than Rosen, and that decision was, yes, he is. Murray is our guy.
Yeah, I don't know better. I just think he's more fitted for the system, and they're going to play to their strengths. They're not going to force him to do things he's not capable of. I think Josh can be a quality quarterback. It's just he doesn't – I'm not saying I think with the right coaching, which is teaching, the right protection, weapons, I think Josh could be successful. The problem is it's going to take a little bit more time. Again, there's going to be a learning curve, but he's really a plug-and-play guy based on his experience in the air raid offense and the RPOs.
Murray went 57-3 combined between his high school years and his college career. And, of course, last year at Oklahoma, winning the Heisman Trophy, leading Oklahoma to the college football playoff, over 4,300 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, and then on the ground, over 1,000 yards rushing. But it was his ability to get the ball out quick and into his playmakers' hands is what set him apart. And remember, it wasn't that long ago that he wasn't even on anyone's radar because he was drafted in the first round, top 10 pick of the Oakland A's and Major League Baseball. And it's amazing how much just 9 months has changed Murray's future because the A's allowed him that year at Oklahoma to play quarterback.
Well, we talked about it. I mean, Todd McShay said he went down there and talked to the area scouts. This is maybe in the offseason, maybe it was spring ball, and they said we're not going to waste our time on him because he's going to go play baseball and he could return to school. And once he made the announcement on February 11th, the rest was history. We get to the combine, and all of a sudden he's in the conversation for the first overall pick, and the Cardinals decided that he was the guy, and we're just going to wait him to have his press conference. But a lot of excitement around the Valley. I know people want a defense. I get that. I think it's fair. And we'll see what happens with Josh Rosen. We'll be able to get into that a little bit more this afternoon.
Well, and even Keim acknowledged that because of what he saw on film with Nick Bosa and Quinnen Williams and even meeting them as well, that he would love to have had several number one overall draft picks. I mean, just because of the talent, and especially the talent defensively on the defensive line, whether it was interior or edge rushers. And then you saw what the 49ers do. Drafted Nick Bosa. The Jets at number 3 took Quinnen Williams. And those were the top 3 players that basically everyone had pegged. Now, some had Bosa 1, Williams 1.
Depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, but the natural connection was Murray and the Cardinals because of the hire of Cliff Kingsbury. If Kingsbury is not the head coach, I think we're having a totally different conversation and waiting for someone else here to be introduced to the local media.
Possibly. Oh, yeah, not the quarterback
Yes.
position. Yeah, they probably would have traded down.
Yeah.
Or take Bosa. Or Williams. I mean, they really liked Williams towards the end. That's what I was told. I think Bosa was always in the conversation just based on the position he plays.
Yeah, and of course, when a lot of people would love to trade down. Of course, you need a partner to trade up for.
Do you think if they traded with the Raiders, they would have taken Murray?
Yes, because historically, you're moving up to grab.
Because they got a guy that we didn't think they would take that high, but he was ranked top 10 in a lot of different scouting services, so it wasn't out of left field. But the impression I get, if they did trade down, I think the Raiders would have moved up for Murray.
trade down to 4, and then all of a sudden you
Raiders trade up, Cardinals trade down to 4. Yeah, I think they would have taken Murray.
Murray, the third quarterback off, or I should say one of 3 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Daniel Jones went number 6 to the Giants. Dwayne Haskins, number 15 to the Washington Redskins. And, of course, the Cardinals tabbing Kyler Murray with the number 1 overall pick. As the press conference is about to get underway here from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, Kyler Murray's father and mother have walked into the auditorium, his agent as well, and now we're just waiting for the man of the hour, Kyler Murray, to walk in as well. His first comments since landing in Tempe following, I'm sure, a whirlwind 24, 36 hours in Nashville.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of pub on his suit. It was a pink suit. It looked good on him. There's a great picture of him on the phone with the Arizona media with the skyline in the background. And it looks like he signed with Nike. And they got a new.
They had that commercial
out
right at the ready.
And they're pink also. Now he was standing next to Melissa Stark. She was wearing heels, and he was as tall as her. And she says, "I don't have 6-foot heels." Here he comes.
All right. Without further ado, let's hear from Kyler Murray. But first, it's the general manager Steve Keim stepping up to the microphone.
Welcome. Having the number 1 pick in the NFL draft is certainly a game changer. And that's exactly what we did. We selected a game changer. Kyler Murray has a unique skill set, a transcending player, not only the Heisman Trophy winner at Oklahoma, but a guy that possesses a rare and unusual skill set. As I said last night, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I've seen guys who run like him, I've seen guys who throw like him, but I haven't seen a guy who had his combination of throwing and running that can do it all. That can get out of traffic, that can create with his feet, that can make those throws with timing and anticipation and touch. He was a fun player to watch and a guy that I know our fans are going to be extremely excited to see play over the next several years. I know you guys have heard enough of me talk and you want to know Kyler Murray. So without further ado, our first round pick, Kyler Murray.
First, I want to thank my parents, my agent, Eric, and obviously coaching staff, Mr. Bidwell, Mr. Keim, for believing in me and making this dream come true. I cannot wait to get on the field and get this thing started.
If you have questions, if you wouldn't mind, Chase has a microphone on this side and Amani has one on this side.
Hey, Kyler, welcome to town. Mark McClune, CBS 5, 3TV here in Phoenix. Just wanted to hear more about your relationship with Coach Kingsbury. Yeah. What are your kind of first recollection of him walking onto campus at Allen High School and trying to recruit you?
15 years old, just knowing his swag, knowing what he does as far as offense goes. Not really knowing much about the game yet. Obviously a young guy, but for me, just trying to soak it all in. And like I said, it was a recruiting process for me, but he was obviously fond of me at a young age. And I always respected how he felt about me, and we just kind of grew as the years went on.
Hey, Kyler. Bob McMahon, I'm in Arizona Republic. Can you talk about where the ability came from and how you cultivated this escapability, the ability not to get hit, and how to find passing lanes?
I don't think anybody likes to get hit on a football field playing quarterback, but obviously my dad playing football, him teaching me how to, throw the ball, do everything. But I think also just, God blessed me with the ability to move fast, run fast, throw the ball at a high level, and then me learning the game myself, as many years as I've played it, learning how to avoid things and I had to learn how to throw from different angles and, find those throwing lanes. But it's just a lot of hard work. And I don't shy away from hard work. So,
Kyler Scott Bordeaux from The Athletic. Both you and Cliff have talked about the text exchanges while you were in college, which is a little bit unusual, I think, for an opposing coach to be texting an opposing player. But why do you think you guys bonded? Do you share similar personality traits? Is it because you both played quarterback? What do you think went into the factors for that?
I think because he was just so interested in me, he's so high on me, recruiting me. And as a player, you want to have a guy that's, knows what you do, and is respects your game and is behind you at all costs. So he was always that guy for me. Obviously, it didn't work out, going A&M, but now we're here, and we've had multiple talks about this situation, for years, and I'm just excited to be here.
Jack Magruder from Forbes. Kyler, more a little bit on those texts. What did that mean to you to he said last night he would kind of try to build your confidence and give you words of advice. What did those texts mean to you when you got those?
You said who?
Coach Kingsbury. The text from you and him. It seemed like...
Oh, yeah. Just during the season and stuff like that?
Yeah, just how it helped you personally, it seemed like.
I mean, just the fact that he was watching me, during the season. I mean, he was obviously coaching, I was playing. And the fact that he was, taking his time out to watch film on me obviously means a lot. Me trying to, win every game or, do what I can for my team and him coaching his team, I think that just speaks volumes.
Hey, Kyler. Catherine Fitzgerald, Arizona Republic. I know we've asked a lot about baseball, but more now that you've had time to process the NFL draft, just given that you're the only person to have ever been taken in the first round for both of those drafts, are you able to kind of feel that place in history at all?
No, I just thank God for the abilities to allow me to play both games at a high level. My parents are pushing me every day, teammates, coaches, but I don't think that'll soak in until, later down the line.
Can you talk about how quick it came together when you talk about going from baseball a year ago, September, you get drafted, and then you go football and you excel, and now you're number one overall, and you might change the landscape of the league?
Yeah, no, it's been a long time. Having a decent baseball season, getting drafted, and then in the back of my head wanting to go ball out that season and then be here in this position. I feel like everything was planned, everything was thought out, and now that it's here, it's kind of crazy, but at the same time, this is where I wanted to be, and I'm just glad I'm here.
Hey, Kyler, Josh Weinfuss, ESPN. How comfortable are you taking the reins as a starting quarterback as a rookie, especially if Josh is still on this roster come week one?
I'm just ready to work, come in here, work hard, get better each and every day, no matter the situation. That's my job. I'm not really worried about, starting the first game or anything like that. For me, all I can do is come in, get better each and every day.
Hey, Kyler, Steve White with the NFL Network. Just throughout this whole process, you were saying last night how you knew the Cardinals were fond of you, that this was a possibility. How did you kind of walk through maybe the process of coming here and knowing the expectation of you could be the number one pick and a guy who's going to be viewed as turning this franchise's fortunes around?
Say what?
I mean, you were going to be viewed. You're going to be viewed. I mean, how did you process the fact that, hey, I could be the guy that this team is going to bank on to turn the franchise's fortunes around?
I mean, as a kid, that's what you dream of, going to an organization and being that guy, turning the program around, an organization around, and, winning Super Bowls. And, like I said, I don't shy away from hard work. I feel like, I'm not here to lose games or go through the motions. I'm here to change things up. So I'm ready to go, and I can't wait.
Hey, Kyler, Jody Ayler, Fox Sports 910. You've spent an entire draft process having other people tell you what your biggest challenge would be in the NFL. What do you believe the biggest challenge for yourself will be at adjusting to the NFL level?
I think everything takes time. Everything's an adjustment. It's not going to be easy, obviously. It's the National Football League, getting everybody's best shot. And, for me, I think it's just coming in, like I said, working hard each and every day. Whether, if I fail a little bit, that's fine. I mean, everybody fails, but at the same time, get back up, keep going, keep pushing, and just making sure that I'm doing my best to keep this thing going.
Hey, Kyler, Mike Pelton, ABC 15 here in Phoenix. Congratulations. What's your message directly to Cardinal fans? What can they expect from you in the coming years?
I said it last night. I mean, you're getting a winner. Every time I start to feel I'm going hard, no matter the scoreboard, no matter if we're up or down, it doesn't matter. They're getting a winner in me and a guy that loves the game of football.
Hey, Kyler. Obviously, the Cardinals could still pick up a few receivers in the rest of the draft, but what do you think it'll be like playing with Larry Fitzgerald and with Christian Kirk again?
Yeah, no, I grew up watching Larry, so him being a legend, getting to throw the ball to him will definitely be a little crazy. Getting back with Christian, just the connection that we had, growing up. I can't wait. I know we got a lot of other guys, but like you said, those two guys will definitely be, especially be back and getting to mix up with them.
Will you be rooting for Cody Ford, perhaps?
That's not up to me. Hey, if it was, I love Cody. I can't believe he slid last night, but if we do get to be teammates, I'll definitely be a happy guy for sure. We good? Yeah.
Kyler Murray's introductory press conference here on this special edition of Cards Cover 2 from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, as Murray now off to the side of the podium, putting on a Cardinals hat and, of course, posing with his number 1 jersey with the name Murray across the back, the smile on his face during this entire time, and a familiar theme during his Q&A with the local media: wants to earn it. Work hard, not afraid of failure, but he says, as he said, the Cardinal fans are getting a winner.
Yeah, we all heard about the interview with Dan Patrick, and maybe he was caught off guard, but you could see he's comfortable in front of a crowd. He speaks well. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's going to tell you how he feels, and, a lot of he owes to his parents. But a pleasant young man and bright future, and looking forward to watching him, because this is going to be something we haven't had. We talked about Jake Plummer, and give Jake a lot of credit. That team was able to go to Dallas and knock off the Cowboys. And I remember the next morning, the Dallas Morning News says, we got a new team in the NFC East. It's the Cardinals. And they eventually went to the West. But anyways, this is the dynamic, the throws, the knowledge. Doesn't seem like the game's too big for him. I'm looking forward to talking to him, who he emulated, who did he watch on film. And I never thought about it. I mean, growing up, yes, he was watching Larry Fitzgerald.
Well, at this point, everyone grew up watching Larry Fitzgerald. As far as the last, maybe 3 drafts. Yeah.
Larry's his 16th year, so what was he, 5 or 6?
That's you said it, not me.
No.
I just agreed with you.
No, I'm just saying the fact.
No, you're absolutely correct, though.
But, I mean, even Christian Kirk, who knew Larry Fitzgerald in high school, participated in his celebrity softball game last year, which happens tomorrow. I mean, he's in the same locker room. I mean, Trent Sherfield, he sits right next to Larry. He's just a sponge. And then they go in their meeting room, and I got to think Larry's a prankster. And, obviously they don't have some of the wide receivers you had here, Jerron Brown and J.J. Nelson and John Brown. But for the most part, I mean, it's just fascinating. He's that young. One of the younger quarterbacks coming out in the NFL draft.
Well, and you heard him mention, everyone talks about the relationship with Cliff Kingsbury, but if there is another teacher that Murray can learn a lot from, Tom Clements. And that's something that I don't think has been discussed enough. He doesn't have the tag as offensive coordinator, but quarterback, offensive passing game coordinator, but someone who has been at, high-level player on the college level, and then has been around several different quarterbacks on the NFL level and has seen and done so much more than we'll ever know. And now you have that guy in your ear along with the pre-existing relationship with the head coach.
Yeah. Yes, from that standpoint, definitely. And that's why it's so intriguing, where I want him to get first-team reps. Now, listen, I mean, you hate to think this way, but injuries are part of football. And the Cardinals got a tough decision whether the Dolphins are going after Rosen today. Obviously they would prefer a first-round pick, but what happens if he gets hurt in week 4? I mean, ready to turn over Brett Hundley. What if they're 0-4 to start the season? I don't think that. I'm hoping they're 2-2, 3-1. Hey, 4-0 if you can go that far. Get greedy here. So, but it's going to be a different offense. It's going to be a lot of excitement, and the Cardinals are thrilled to have Kyler Murray on the roster.
It's certainly going to be a lot of fun, and can't wait to see him on the field as we continue on this special edition of Cards Cover 2 from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center. Kyler Murray, the #1 pick of the 2019 NFL Draft, and he joins us right now here live at the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center. First off, Kyler, congratulations. You've had a smile on your face since the commissioner announced your name. But I want to go back to something that Steve Keim said. Called you a game changer.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
What does it mean to me? I mean, I think that's just the excitement that I bring to the game that everybody sees, the big playability, but at the same time, I feel like, I can do anything on a football field. That's how I feel. And hopefully, the Red Sea, my teammates, they'll all be behind me and believing in that. So, I'm excited to go, and I cannot wait.
There seems to be a lot of anticipation or talk of the evolution of the quarterback at the NFL level. It started maybe with Russell Wilson, but now with Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and now yourself. Well, those last three names all have a connection with Kingsbury. Have you seen that happening in the NFL over these last couple of years?
I think it's kind of I haven't really thought about it, but potentially being the guy that breaks the mold for the position of the quarterback and the whole height thing and everything like that. It's pretty special. I don't want to put any limits on kids who want to play quarterback at any type of height or any size. I feel like if you can play the game, if you have the feel to play quarterback, you can play it. And I feel like I've certainly showed that throughout my career from high school to college. Hopefully, obviously I got to prove it now on this level, but I'm looking forward to getting to work, and I know it's going to take a lot of hard work.
Let's talk about your mother and father and how important they were for you. And my understanding is your father taught you to throw a football at 6 or 7 and throw a baseball. First of all, talk about the journey and how much hard work that they pushed you to be in this situation today.
If you ask them, they tell you, man. It's I'm a self-motivated kid, and I've always have been. And they never had to push me to get outside or work on my game or tell me to go to the weight room, tell me to go to the indoor. It was always me. I always wanted to whatever it took to be great, because that's what I'm pushing for. That's what I'm gonna do. So if it was holding me back, I wasn't doing it. So.
All right. What about your throws? Because it seems like the ball jumps out of your hand on some of these throws. Is that from baseball, or is that just learning from your father how to throw a football?
Mostly my dad, teaching me obviously, technique, take pride in, having flawless technique, whatever people may say about throwing the ball or whatever. But no, I mean, that's just years for throwing the ball. Obviously baseball comes, angle, sidearm and stuff like that, and, finding different throwing lanes and stuff like that. So I'm definitely grateful for that. But I mean, throwing the ball with velocity is something you got to be able to do if you want to be elite. And, I'll tell you, I've put in so many hours into this. So that's just part of that.
All right. Go ahead, Craig.
There's no question you have a unique skill set at this NFL level. And, of course, your relationship with Cliff Kingsbury goes back a number of years. But he's never been your head coach. How do you think now maybe this learning curve that all college players have at that jump to the pro level, might it be a little bit different for you? Might you maybe have a little bit of a head start?
I'm glad we're going in this thing together. This is his first year, it's my first year. But at the same time, everybody wants to make it seem like, oh, it's going to be a perfect thing as far as, we're just going to click. It's going to take obviously a lot of work. We're going to have to gain each other's trust as far as off the field and on the field. But, no, I think we definitely have a head start as far as, relationship. And, he knows what I'm capable of. And I obviously am very, very fond of his offense and what he's been able to do with quarterbacks. So, I think the sky's the limit for what he can, put me in, put the system in, and just, I feel like we can flourish for real in this system.
Everyone talks about your height, and it's never been an issue watching you play over the last couple of years. You played with 6'4", 6'5" offensive linemen. You only had 5 batted balls down this year. You find ways to find creases and maybe some windows throwing the football. Does that just come natural to you?
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to make a big deal about the height of my linemen. I mean, my linemen have always been bigger than me. They'll always be bigger than me. So I don't understand that. But Nah, like you said, I mean, I'm the shortest quarterback in probably the NCAA, and I had the least amount of balls batted down or tied
No, you had the lowest.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that just comes with the feel of knowing when to get the ball out. Seeing someone, everything ties into not getting the ball batted down, obviously. But I think just trusting the process, trusting my technique, trusting play calling, and knowing where your linemen are, knowing where the defensive linemen are. And just having that feel of, a natural feel playing quarterback.
Now, when you're getting ready to throw the ball, do you look for coverage or you look for the receivers running their routes?
I mean, you recognize coverage beforehand. Some people disguise it. Some people, try to show it later than others. But at the same time, you as a quarterback, you got to know what everybody's doing on the field. You got to know the linemen are shifting, going who they're going to, and know where the receiver, what routes they're running. If it's zone, they're doing this. If it's man, they're doing this. So. No, I mean I love it. It is what it is. It's part of playing quarterback. But I couldn't tell you if I'm looking at coverage or you just got to read it out and obviously have a feel of what the defense is.
Sure. Has it hit you yet that you are now in the NFL?
Oh no, not really. Kinda, but no. I talked to. Obviously, I had Marquise and Cody at the draft with me last night. And, we talked about it a little bit, but. I don't think it would hit me until, we step on that field, probably for, first preseason game or something like when I'm actually getting ready for a game. Yeah.
Has the uniform been picked out? I mean, are we going with Kyler Murray number 1? Is that official?
We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I want. So, when I get
well,
to
you're going to be the face of the franchise, so I think you're going to get number 1.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just thinking that out loud.
That sounds nice.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I know it's been a long 36, 48 hours for you, but welcome and congratulations on joining the Arizona Cardinals.
Thank you very much.
Kyler Murray, the first overall pick of the 2019 NFL Draft. The smile continues as he is now officially an Arizona Cardinal, and he joined us here on a special edition of Cards Cover 2. Appreciate him coming in. And, again, you can just tell the excitement level on his face, on his voice. One, ready to get to work, but and I think ready to prove a lot of people wrong. But what really stuck out was that the self-motivation. He doesn't need to be pushed. Doesn't need to be told what to do.
Probably why I should have phrased it more work ethic. His parents instilled work ethic and go out there and not so much push yourself, but work to what you want to be great at. And you could see that. It was interesting when you were talking to him, he was watching his highlights.
Yes. Well, we've kind of noticed that whenever we've had a player in here.
We've had Jordan Hicks.
Yeah,
it's great that Jimmy and Jeremy today and Devin, they're able to show us some B-roll, which is just highlights. Every time somebody's in here, they're watching, and I was like,
haven't you seen this before?
No, but I was going to ask him, like, can you break this play down for us? Like, do you remember all these plays? And just seeing them in the open field is fascinating.
Well, it's just the quickness too.
Yeah.
The initial, we talk about 40 times, but just the initial 5 yards, 10 yards.
I should have asked him about that. I think he can run a 4.33.
How about this? How about we set this up?
No.
Kyler Murray versus Mike Jurecki, and we'll give you a 10-yard head start.
No, we don't want to see anybody get hurt, but I think he's going to have competition in the locker room when it comes to fast guys. We didn't. I mean, I only had a short amount of time. I just wonder. We talk about Larry and Christian Kirk, David Johnson.
I'm wondering. You bring up the 40 time. I wonder how much that might be discussed or maybe tried to be set up just amongst the guys in the locker room out on that grass.
Well, we know that Eric Burns, unfortunately, he was barefoot in Tucson and he ended up tearing up his hammies. We don't want any of that.
No, we don't want any of that. So, but it was good to catch up with Kyler Murray, and I'll say this. When he walked out, he shook your hand, and he made an effort to come around and shake my hand, and that speaks volumes for you talk about how he was brought up, work ethic, and then manners, and then just understanding that there's a huge spotlight on him. But I'll say this, if you know anything about Allen High School in Texas, there is a spotlight on Allen High School in Texas. There is a spotlight on Oklahoma football, and there is going to be a spotlight now that follows them here with the Arizona Cardinals. This kid knows pressure.
It wasn't the Rod Graves or Adrian Peterson handshake, but he's got long fingers.
Well, the hand size, that was something that wasn't talked about because he's got bigger hands than most quarterbacks.
Exactly. And again, I think that comes from his genes, obviously his father, who played football and baseball.
and he was asked about it in the press conference, but yes, history made. Kyler Murray the first ever to be drafted in the first round of both the Major League Baseball draft and the National Football League draft.
And we didn't get a chance to talk to him when he was on the chalkboard with John Gruden for like an hour and a half. Remember, they held the media up. Hey, ESPN, Cardinals, Raiders on Thursday Night Football.
First
2 are at home. I want to say the last 2 on the road.
Week 2 of the
Week
preseason.
2.
That's right.
And that's a team that I think if they would have moved up or the Cardinals went defense, I think he'd be in that division.
Well, go into the regular season. The matchup against Baker Mayfield, who went on social media last night after the draft or during the midst of the draft and welcomed Kyler Murray to the NFL, and said, and it's week 15.
Towards the end of
the season, but they'll see one another on the field, and that's going to be a big moment not only for those two, but a big moment as well for Oklahoma head coach Lincoln Riley. Before we head on out of here, a special message from the Oklahoma Sooners head coach, who went on social media to congratulate his now former Heisman winning trophy quarterback.
Kyler, hey bud, just wanted to congratulate you on being our second straight quarterback to go first overall. What a amazing accomplishment, man. From where you started, the 3 years you've been here, all the ups and downs, to see as the first overall pick, man. What a special thing for you, for Kevin, for Missy. I just want you to know here, man, we're so proud of you. I think a lot back to the day you walked in the door here, all the hard work you put in, for the first 2 years, so much of it was behind the scenes. And it's all worth it right now, man. You've done it the right way. Been a joy to coach, have here at Oklahoma. There's no doubt this program is much better for having had you here. So we appreciate you, man. We love you, you and your family. You got some big, big things ahead of you. Know that we'll all be here supporting you the rest of the way through, bud. So good luck. Don't ever be a stranger. And again, congratulations.
Now the question becomes, is there another Oklahoma Sooner that joins the Arizona Cardinals? Murray was asked about it. There is a tackle by the name of Cody Ford who helped protect Murray in college, and now Cardinals are on the clock. They've got the first pick in the second round. We don't need to get into too much depth here now, but that is the next step here in this NFL draft, is day 2, second and third rounds.
So you're telling me we're coming back?
Yes.
Later this afternoon.
Later this afternoon. You want more Mike Jurecki? We give you more Mike Jurecki here. Later on this afternoon, another special edition of Cards Cover 2 ahead of the second and third rounds. Cardinals right now picking first in round 2 and first in round 3.
And we'll continue to follow the latest on Josh Rosen, and we'll get into that. And the Cardinals are going to have – there are guys on their board that had first-round grades that slipped to the second round. We talk about this all the time, agents and mock drafts. You get 40 to 45 players think they're going to go in the first round. And, hey, if you want to come into the league with a chip on your shoulder, so be it.
Absolutely. There is a ton of talent still on that board, and the Cardinals on that 120 board certainly ready to make a selection with the 33rd overall pick. And with that, we'll sign off here on this Friday mid-afternoon. Don't forget, we'll be back a little bit later on ahead of rounds 2 and 3. But for right now, special thanks to those behind the scenes: Tim Delaney, Jim Omohundro, Jeremy Schnell, and Jackson Sipes. For Mike Jurecki, I'm Craig Grialou. A special edition of Cards Cover 2. Kyler Murray in the building, and now officially an Arizona Cardinal.